Hi guys, welcome to Marian Inspired. Today we are going to do one of my favorite DIY crafts. These are actually paper flowers, and these are quite versatile. You can use them for various things. You can use them both indoors and outdoors. For example, you can use them to decorate the walls in your rooms. For example, if you have a baby nursery, you can do a flower board and just hang it on your living room wall. You can do small paper flowers and arrange them in a photo frame and actually just hang them on the wall for decor. You can also use them outdoors for events like baby showers, bridal showers, birthdays, weddings, corporate events. If you're launching new products, if you have, for example, a salon or somewhere where you just want to display them, maybe in a display window. They are versatile. You can use different colors, different textures of paper. You can actually hand paint some of the paper just to bring in a variety and a different kind of feel from the normal kind of paper flowers. So I'm going to take you through what you will need to work out this craft. It's actually very simple and easy, though at times you need a bit of practice, so maybe do it a number of times, but this is something you can actually pull it off from your home. So the first thing you will need is you will need cardstock material. So this is paper that is a bit of heavy grammage. Most of the times you can use 65 grams of paper. It's normally used for making, for example, cards instead of the normal printing paper. This is more, it's firm, so it makes your flowers to be firm and to last longer. They come in different colors. You can get these from shops, mostly in town, along Sheikh Karume Road. There are quite a number of shops. You just ask for shops that sell the paper for making cards. Along, I'm trying to remember the name of that street, but as you go towards Coast Bus, there are quite a number of shops. There's Buruani, there's Eagles, there's Advertising World, there's Ngariama. You can find all this paper, and they come in different colors. They normally come in the size of an A2, I think either A2 or A1. So I would advise you that once you buy the A2, because it's quite big, have it cut into pieces, mostly A4 sizes. So that's what I normally do with my paper. Once I have bought it, I have it cut. There are also quite a number of machine cutters in town that cut paper in large quantities in bulk, so that when you go to your home, you can easily work with the paper instead of going with it rolled whole wide paper. So you need your paper. You will need a pair of scissors because you are going to cut. For the ones who are more advanced and do in larger quantities, some use the Cricut machine, but for me, I just work with my scissors, do with my hands. You'll need a glue gun. As I said, this is one of my favorite crafting tools. So you need a glue gun. You'll need the glue stick. It's also sold in various shops in town. Sorry. For the paper, you can also find it in Textbook Center. They also have quite a variety of paper. It might be a bit on the higher side in terms of cost, but if you're doing 1 or 2 flowers, it's, I think I would say, affordable. Then one of the most important things that you will need are templates. So I get my templates online. I don't make my own template, but it's something you can also make. But people have made the templates. Some are selling, but there are people who are actually giving their templates for free. One person who is giving her templates for free, there's a YouTube channel, and she also has a Facebook page, and it's called Anyone Can Craft. So I would advise, if you have time, you can just go and check out different templates. Just search for large paper flower templates. So for example, this is a template that I got from the site Anyone Can Craft quite a while back. I've gotten from different sites. There's also Forever Petals by V, and there's Crafty Sagittarius, different people who just supply different templates. And these templates come in different I'd say petal shapes. So you can get petals that are rounded, petals that have a V shape, pointed. So I have a petal file, I have a template file, sorry. So I get the different templates, I print them, then I cut it out so that anytime I want to do my paper flowers, my templates are ready. So it's the different shapes of the petals give you different shapes of the flowers. For example, As you can see, this was a V and pointed, and this was more of a curved, curvy edge. So different petal types will give you different types of shapes of the flowers. For variety, as you continue making them, you learn to play around. Then you can come up with, for example, print paper. So you can take your cardstock paper, normally white cardstock paper, and just print a pattern. You can download different patterns so that you bring in variety, and now use this for making your paper flowers. So for example, this was printed. You can see there's the plain and there's the printed paper that I used. You can also paint. I normally use acrylic paint. It dries faster. Remember, we had our first video on acrylic paints, and I shared with you more on about acrylic paint. So this, for example, I painted white on the edges with the acrylic paint. Then I let it to dry. Then I made the flower. This was also with acrylic paint, yellow, and it depends on the theme that you want to bring out. So it's just basically for variety. So once you have your materials, we're going to get crafting. So for the template I chose, you require, for the flower to come into shape, different sizes of each petal. So for the bigger petal, for this size, I needed 7 pieces. Then the second layer of petals for this size, I also need 7 pieces. So I've used the printed cardstock just to spice it up a bit. Then I went for the third layer, a plain one. This I have also 7 pieces. And then the last layer, which is the inner layer, I have 5 pieces. Also, this is printed cardstock, as you can see. Then you also need a center. So we normally have also templates for the center. The larger the flower, the larger the center. This is a round center. Some people will use a pentagon center. It depends. You can also have a smaller center, depending on the size of your flower. So if it's a smaller flower, obviously the petals will occupy less of a circumference, so you need a smaller center. So once we have our materials, we'll also need a string or double-sided tape. You can find this in House of Leather, you can find this in Textbook Center, and supermarkets like Game, they have double-sided tape, and quite a number of bookshops. Then you'll also need a binding wire. These are basically to help you hang your flowers once you are done. So you can decide, if you're sticking them on the wall, you will need a double-sided tape. If you're hanging them, for example, outside on fabric or on an arc, you can use binding wire, or you can use pins stuck on your paper and then you hang them, or you can use thread where you just form a loop and stick it at the back side and hang on your wall on a hook. So those are just for hanging. The acrylic paint is for painting, and normally I have a pencil for drawing out the template pattern. So what you do is, for example, if this is my paper and I need 6 pieces of this, so I will draw on the paper, then I will take a number of papers so that I produce more. Instead of cutting one by one, I layer them together, then I cut through and come out with the number of pieces that I want. Instead of drawing all the 7 petals and then cutting, I think you can take a shortcut and just make your work easy. So we are going to start our assembly. So the first thing you will take is, you will take your center, the round center. So before you start, we need to shape our petals. So what we do is, you take your layer. So for example, these are 7 petals. Then you're going to eyeball and estimate the center of the width of the petal, and then you're going to cut. And as you cut, you're going to cut a bit inside, nearly up to the center of the petal. So I've layered all of them together instead of cutting one by one. So you're going to take that and just give it a bit of strength and cut as you go inwards towards the center of the span of the height. And so that's I've cut the petals. Then I'll take the rest and cut. So I decided to do 4 layers. You can do 5 layers. You can add the circumference of your flower. You can do even a larger, more larger petal than this. There's a template for it. So if you want a smaller flower, then you decide to work with the smaller size petals, and you can go 3 layers inside. So just feel free to play around. Do not be afraid. The first time might be a bit of messes here and there, but you keep on learning. After you are done with cutting your center, we want to give it a bit of shape so that it looks like a flower. Flowers are normally just not straight. So we are going to fold. So you just roll. I'm using my glue stick. You can use something that is rounded. You can use your paintbrush. You can use a pencil. So I'm just going to roll it. So I'm curling it inwards. You can also curl it, I'm curling it outwards. You can curl them inwards. You can curl one outwards and one inwards. So it's basically just to give it a bit of a shape. So that's my first layer. So for example, for my second layer, I'm curling one inward and outward. Take care not to. So for the last one, I just curled one side. Feel free to play around. It's not cast on stone, but how you curl it gives the pattern to your petal. So once you're done with that, we are going to take our petal and we're going to crisscross just a little bit. So what you do is you take your glue gun, you apply at the bottom. Be careful because it at times spills out so that you don't burn your fingers. Then you crisscross it inwards a bit and you stick it so that you give it a bit of a depression to give the shape. So we are going to do this for all of them. So we are done with sticking our centers. So once we are done, we are now going to form the flower. So you're going to take your center piece, remember your center circle. So you're going to arrange. Then what you do is you start with the largest size of petals. And what I like doing is just, let me say, spreading them out around the circle before sticking, especially if this is the first time you're doing it. So they will interlap a bit as they are spread evenly around the circle, so that you just have an idea on how it's going to form, and so that you don't stick, then you realize maybe you stuck it too close. So basically just to first spread it out, look at how evenly they're spread out. So for this you can see already it's starting to form the shape. Then I'll start sticking one by one. So I've eyeballed the separation distance between each one of them. So I put glue at the bottom, not too much so that it doesn't spill out. Then I take my center and start with the first piece, and I come in with the second piece and give it just a little bit of space, but not too much space. Remember we had spread them out and just seen how they're going to form the pattern of the flower. So we continue arranging the petals. So as I said, the more you do it, the more finer your flowers will become, the more you will master this. So you move it a bit close. So for example, if you want to have, maybe you're doing for a birthday party and the colors are blue, then you buy blue paper, and the papers come in very different colors. You can just ask the shop to show you the different colors that they have. So that's the first layer. Then we are going to form the second layer, and we are going to enter a bit inside. And what you do is you overlap. So for example, if between these two is where I will put my first petal. You can see the size is a bit smaller, so I will put it in between the two. So because there are 7 and my second layer are 7, they should actually fill in all the gaps in between. So it's basically you're just alternating. So I'm looking for the center, so that's the center. Watch out for the strands of the glue. You'll keep removing them just to have a good finish. So this is the center. I'll stick that. You can see it's starting to look like a flower here. Then I have my final petal. And as I said, you can play around. You don't have to stick to what you see on the tutorial. Even online, there are some tutorials they use 6 petals. There are some that use 7. You just space them about and just have fun as you do this. So we are going to do the third layer, which are also 7, and they're also going. So you put now in between that, so you can see they're aligned. The first layer and the third layer are aligned. And I've alternated the pattern, so one is plain, one has a floral pattern, then the other is plain. You can do plain the whole flower. It's what you want, and it's the final look that you're looking for. So I'm putting in between the layer that was before. You can make different kinds of flowers. You can make a sunflower, you can make a rose, you can make a peony. So you can just have different templates for different types of flowers for those who are very conversant with flowers. So that's my third layer. Then I'm going to come in for my last layer. So for the last layer, it's not going to be really alternating because I have 5 petals, but I'm just going to spread them around so that they can fit well in the inner circle. At times you can use 4, you can use 5. You will see how they are well spread out. So that's my third. Ensure the glue sets in so that the petals don't come out, especially during handling. Then as you can see, I'm going to put in my last one. So that is my last petal. I hope it's making sense. So normally what we do, it's good to just make a center to just wrap up the whole look. So I'm going to make a center. Let me put this here so that you can see. So this is just one of the many ways of doing a center. So this type of center that I'm making actually nearly looks like this. There are other types of centers where you actually have a pattern, so you cut it out. Mostly I use hand, but you can also use Cricut. Then you make your center and just stick it on. As you can see, this is it's a larger flower. It's flat because I didn't carve the edges, so I just wanted a different look. So you can have different centers. You can choose not to have a center like for this flower, but it has to be, the petals have to be very well fine arranged so that it doesn't look like it has a gap. So I'll show you one method of making a center, quite easy. So you can take a piece of paper. If your space is much wider, we'll fold a bigger fold, but since my space is small, I'll just take a bit less wider paper. So I cut this, then I'm going to do fringes on the edges. So you can see I folded it into half. We have fringe scissors or herb scissors that are normally, it has like 4 blades at the same time, so you can easily cut much faster as compared to here by where I'm going to be cutting one by one. So you just cut fringes at on the folded side, not on the open side. The thinner you make the spacing in between, the less wide, the finer it looks. Quite a bit of work, but when you're crafting, you enjoy doing some of these things. Yeah, so you ensure you just cut. Don't cut till the end because you need to stick it and roll it up. So leave a bit of a margin. I've left a bit of 1 centimeter at the edge as I continue cutting. Ensure that you don't crisscross your scissors so that you don't cut into the ones that you've already made. So I just cut. So I think that's enough because my center space is quite little, so you can see that's what we have. Cut, you can turn it so that you make it a bit malleable and flexible. Don't be afraid. Yeah, just make it flexible. Then you're going to stick this edge. So you put some glue, just put a little bit of it. Then you stick the 2 edges together. So what you're going to do is you roll a bit of at the beginning, then you put a bit of glue so that it holds firm, that it doesn't come off. Yeah. Then you roll. So you just roll. So when you're near the end again, ensure you put some glue that it holds firm. Give it time to dry. So you can see it's Yeah, looks like a bit of pistils and scamming. So you're going to take your center and just see how does it look like. You can open it more, make it look, yeah. Then what you're going to do is take glue and just apply on the edges. Please be careful with hot glue. It can burn you, can burn your fingers, can scald you. So you just ensure that you press that, give it time to stick. As you can see, you have your flower, and yes, so that is our flower. So there's one more stage. So we are going to now, how do we hang our flower? Remember we did our center, and as I told you, when you are starting you need 2 centers. So for example, if you want to hang it on the wall and you have a hook on the wall, you take a piece of thread. You can even use knitting threads, doesn't have to be jute. So what you do is you take your thread, you put glue, then you put glue all around and you stick your center so you can hang using that. The second option is, for example, if you're hanging on the wall, this is double-sided tape. So what double-sided tape is, you cut a bit of it. So the first side is it's stuck, then you peel it off. That's why it's called double-sided tape. You peel off the tape, and this has been stuck on this, then you just hang it, you stick it on your wall. Be careful because it can remove paint on your wall, so just be careful on that. And finally is, for example, if you're hanging on fabric like a sheer curtain or a stretcher curtain, so what we do, for example, for weddings, or you're hanging it on a wedding arc, a metallic arc, is you take, this is binding wire. You can find this in city market, the flower shops. Just ask for binding wire, trim it to the size you want, stick it onto your flower, then put glue all around, and then stick the base, and then you have this, so you can tie wherever you want to tie. So for my flower, I'm going to hang it. So what I'll do is I'm going to put the string, so I put the glue. Just be careful again with the hot glue. Then we're going to take all around. Don't take it up to the top because that's where you're going to hang it from. Just ensure you spread the glue well. You take your second base and you stick it. And so you can actually hang it on a hook on your wall. Give it time to set so that it's very firmly secured, and we have our flower. So just to show you, for example, this one we put binding wire because we were actually hanging it on a hook. And this we used double-sided tape because I was hanging it on a wall. It's actually quite dusty. It was hanging on the wall. So how do we do? Just a bit of a bonus on painting. So you take your acrylic paint, you take your brush, soft bristles, gives you a finer finish. Do not be afraid. Just hold your petals once you've cut, then you go spreading it out. Just give it more of a rough. Do not be too concerned about the finesse. So you can add as you go on. Just take care so that you don't smudge it on your fingers. Yeah, then you set it aside to dry. As you can see, that's hot pink paper. This is navy blue paper. So you can paint all your petals one by one. Needs a bit of patience, needs early planning so that you have at least a few hours to allow this to set and dry, not a last minute thing. If it's last minute, I would advise not to go with the paint way. So the advantage with acrylic paint is that it dries quite fast. So what you do is you set it aside, you let it dry. Once it's dry, remember what we did, we cut into the center, then we rolled the sides, and then finally you'll be ready to do your flowers. I will show you, for example, as I said, this was hand painted, this was just the same acrylic paint. This was hand painted, so I painted all the petals, allowed them to dry, rolled, cut, stuck into the center, and then did my flower. And as I said, you can also print paper, you can cut the paper, you can stick and do a double layer, you can do it on its own a different petal. So just play around, have fun. So that's our tutorial for today. Just if you look up above me, I have hung paper flowers in my craft room. So that's, as I was saying, you can use them as decor on your wall. I enjoy having them. I like the pop of color that they have. Red is one of my favorite colors. So feel free to decorate your homes. Remember, this is our page for channel for home improvements, decor, craft, DIY. I hope you've learned something exciting that is coming up. We are planning to have classes for paper flowers. If you're interested, kindly comment below, or you can inbox us, send us a message, or check the number on our Facebook page. And please send us messages so that we know if we have enough interested people to have these classes. But it's something that I think you will benefit from and you'll have fun, and we'll also throw in bonus classes of things that we've not done today in this class.